A Hong Kong woman has been found guilty of abusing an Indonesian maid in a high-profile cases of mistreatment. Lo Wan Thong was accused of causing grievous body harm, criminal intimidation, and failure to pay wages. The maid Ariana drew global attention last year when she returned to Indonesia and had to be hospitalized. She testified in court in December that she was abused by law for several months before she was sent home. The case drew intensive security
Scrutiny.
Scrutiny. The case drew intensive scrutiny in Hong Kong, where a significant number of families relied on domestic helpers. The city's residents employ about 300,000 maids from other parts of Asia. Lo was found guilty of 18 out of 20 charges laid against her. The two charges he was not found guilty of relate to her treatment of another maid. She is due to be sentenced later this month. Ms. Ariana told AFP news agency after the verdict that she was very happy. During the trial, the court heard the law beat Miss Ariana with various objects, including a mop and a hanger, at one point knocking her unconsciously. Unconscious. Unconscious and deprived
Deprived.
Deprive her of proper food. Her defense lawyer has accused Ms. Ariana of being opportunistic and argue she sustained her injuries because of her clumsiness. Law denied all the abuse charges laid against her, but admitted to a separate charge of not buying insurance for Miss Ariana. Photographs of Miss Ariana in an Indonesian hospital last year caused outrage in her home country, while the case also triggered protests by migrant workers in Hong Kong. And Amnesty International in 2013 published a report alleging that maids were being abused and exploited in Hong Kong, and called on the city's government to resolve the issue. Nearly half of Shenzhen's lawmakers 有给大家has signed a petition against Hong Kong's proposed thermal landfill expansion, and in a president
Unprecedented. Unprecedented.
Unprecedented protests that could storm cross-border town. Strong 係拉緊我隻緊張嘅事，差多少少。
Strain.
Strain. Strength. sport 台深圳 Municipal People's Congress Deputy Yang Cheng leading opponents of the landfill expansion said yesterday that almost 200 of the city's 404 lawmakers had backed the call for Hong Kong to reconsider the project and any others like it along the border, and other 2,000 district-level representatives. Dozens of influential industrial associations and more than a million Shenzhen residents had joined the campaign since a fire at the landfill in November sent nauseous smoke wafting north of the border. It will be the biggest public awareness campaign of its kind ever, with so many local lawmakers joining the petition, said Yang. The Hong Kong government should treat our voice very seriously. If it continues to ignore Shenzhen's concern, such a policy can result only in lifting a rock to drop it on your own toes. Yang predicts most of the remaining lawmakers will sign up in time for the annual session of the People's Congress and the city's political advisory body next week, at which the landfill project could be a big topic of discussion. The Shenzhen campaign represents a turnabout in the regional environmental debate, in which Hong Kongers have long complained about polluting drifting over from the mainland. The landfill determined project could cost 9 billion Hong Kong dollars and double the near capacity landfill to 400 hectares. It is one of the 3 expansions proposed by the Hong Kong government until a planned rubbish incinerator is built. The government's plastic bag tax comes to effect today. So from now on, shoppers need to pay an extra 50 cents per bag and over 2,000 retail outlets. Retail 係零售，呢個寫。Retail outlets. Environmental Secretary Edward Yao said the scheme got off to a good start, but it still has its critics. If you went to the supermarket today, then you may have found yourself forking out. Fork out an extra $1 or $2 for plastic bags if you didn't take your own. That's because the new plastic bag levy scheme went into effect from midnight last night at around 2,800 shops across the city. Shops registered under the scheme are no longer hand out plastic bags for free, but charge shoppers 50 cents for each one they ask for. The levy, which was passed by the Legislative Council last July, is the first scheme to be implemented under something called the Porter Eco-Responsibility Ordinance. The aim is to reduce the amount of waste and ease pressure on the city's free landfills, which are running out of space. It should also mean less litter on Hong Kong streets and in the countryside. Even though it's only the first day, it seems to be working already, with some people praising the idea. I think it's okay. It will make people stop taking as many plastic bags as they like. It actually does motivate people to use the environmental friendly bag. And others didn't seem bothered about forking out extra cash. I'd be quite happy pay for a bag if I haven't got one with me, and I will to bring my own. Environmental Secretary Edward Yao visited shops in Sha Kei Wan and Causeway Bay to see how the scheme is doing. Things seems to be going very smoothly. 7 to 8 out of 10 people walking into supermarket brought their own shopping bag. While the feedback has been mostly positive, some called green groups has accused the government of not doing enough to inform the public about the scheme, as so many people seem to be aware of it. So they also say some manufacturers has been exploiting what they believe is a loophole, claiming there's been an increase in pre-packaged supermarket products for shoppers who want to avoid the 15 cents tax. Yao said manufacturers has been asked not to do that. I think it will be counterproductive. 是的地方。Because consumers are now willing to sort of contribute to this green movement by buying their own bag. So don't sort of upset or undermine the plan. The government estimates the government estimates it will make around 200 billion a year from the bag levy, but the money won't necessarily be used for conservation projects. Conservation projects. Earlier, the government had said it didn't want shoppers to happily pay extra, thinking the cash will be used to help the environment, since that would defeat the purpose of the scheme. How effectively will this plastic bag levy be, and is a 15-cent charge enough to discourage people from being wasteful? We will get an indication of that in the days to come, but at least it's a start in the uphill battle to make Hong Kong a greener city. Some retailers, 零售鋪, may ignore new bag levy. The second stage of the government's plastic bag levy comes into force today. I'm concerned the citizens will not be clear about the details of the extended scheme and will not be sure about what plastic bags attract the 15 cents levy and those that are exempt. For example, frozen food in a bag will be free out of charge. It does look to me as thought there are so many green areas. Also, I'm not convinced that significant measures are in place to measure the rules relating to the extent scheme are enforced. The exempt plastic bag levy will cover more than 100,000 retailers in Hong Kong. The government must make sure its publicity about the new charges is reaching all consumers, so that they are fully informed about what charges that they will incur if they choose to get a plastic bag from a shop from today. It is traditionally used extensive television advertising. This is still effective, but it needs to target all age groups, including teenagers and young adults. So it should be extending its promotion campaign to raise awareness to the internet and using platforms such as YouTube and other forms of social media. The best way to target housewives and the elderly is to set up booths in a variable of housing estates and distribute leaflets, disputes all those property enforced. Disputes will break out at some shops during the early stages of the scheme, as many people will still not be familiar with it. However, disputes
Inevitable.
inevitable. Disputes inevitable teething problems. The government must ensure that the levy is enforced and those businesses which ignore it are punished. The first phase of the levy covered large shops like supermarkets, and the charge will now apply to small and medium-sized stores as well. I think in the early stages, some of those retailers will probably ignore the charge and feel that it's okay, as effective enforcement of the law is unlikely. If this is a general perception amongst many retailers, then it will be difficult to see the charges have the desired effect of reducing the number of plastic bag use. Therefore, officials must ensure that shops do impose the charge. The governments and Hong Kong citizens need to recognize the importance of stepping out of the comfort zone of the first phase of the plastic bag levy. 係咁啊，拜拜。landfill 先啦。Dr. Chen Kim Chung Eric, BBC Image OSTGJP, Chairman of the Environment and Conservation Fund Committee 環境及自然保育基金委員會 EDP, the Environmental Protection Department. Environment Bureau. Landfill, net, wet, salt, NTNet 係太古嶺、打鼓嶺 New Territories。講緊 hacker municipal waste, construction waste, special waste. Wet 係稔運係屯門。食 6,400 tons per day. Set 昌昆澳太次沙昌昆 2,000 tons per day. West New Territories landfill. Set Southeast New Territories landfill. 東南Northeast 中北係 Southeast New Territories. No, Northeast New Territories. South 係南 ，North 係北。Said landfill receives only construction waste, 建築廢料。Since 6th of January 2016. Municipal solid waste NSW 城市固體廢物 Municipal solid waste WMF Waste management facilities Waste management facilities ECF Environment and Conservation Fund The integrated 綜合 The integrated waste management facilities The integrated waste management facilities Deep sand mixing deep cement mixing deep cement mixing West New Territories landfill into Moon Northeast New Territories landfill at Taikoo Lane Eco Park石窟礁 Island south of Lantau Island 石窟礁 Changchao South Lantau The Qingshui Ash Lagoons setch into Moon Tem 點讀 Sand.
Sun. Sand.
Sand. Sand. Sand. Sand. Sand. Sand. Okay, 你試下佢仲播緊嘅，點解？
大埔振興牛骨龍汁牛丸，濃郁鮮味又多汁，係打邊爐必定嘅牛丸，各大超市及門市有售。
你做乜嘢啊？喺度播緊啦 ，excuse me。唉，真係。
The following pronunciation is brought to you by pronouncenames.com.
香。香。
Zan. Zan.
Do we have the correct pronunciation of
Zan. Zan. 咁廣東話嘅 Zan。OK。Zan。Zan。Zan。Zan。Zan Shui. Zan Shui. Ash Lagoon's site of 屯門立功社社湖。Municipal solid waste, domestic solid waste, commercial and industrial solid waste。我可能會寫 C 跟住 I 跟住 SW 咁樣。Commercial and industrial solid waste。
Recreation.
Recreation. Recreation. Recreation. Producer responsibility schemes. Everyone who produces waste pays the cost of its collection, recycling, and proper disposal. Organic Resources Recovery Center. Strategic landfills. Strategic landfills. Strategic landfills. strategic landfills, landfill linear citizen, leachate，我記得係咁，leachate。
Leachate.
Yes, leachate management system, incinerator, liars,
Synthetic.
synthetic, synthetic materials, sanitary landfills, Hong Kong Blueprint for Sustainable Use of Resources 2013 to 2022. Squander. A food waste and yard waste plan for Hong Kong 2014 to 2022. Waste blueprint for Hong Kong 2035. Food Waste Hong Kong campaign. Food waste charter. Food waste eateries scheme. The Big Waster. Community waste reduction project.
Reduction.
Yes, reduction project. Nitrogen oxides. Non-drought recombination.
Reclamation. Reclamation, non-judged reclamation, involving dispose, construction, demolition. Demolition. Generate restoration work adverse, render, discomposition, discomposition, discomposition,
Anaerobic.
anaerobic, anaerobic, anaerobic,
Nuisance.
nuisance, 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 comprise, hazardous, biodegradable, deplete,
Deplete.
deplete, 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 mitigation, mitigation, deplete,
Mitigation.
mitigation, mitigation, mitigation,
Mitigation.
mitigation, 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 mitigation,
Surplus.
surplus, 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 surplus,
Inevitable.
inevitable, inevitable, inevitable,
Pilot.
pilot, pilot scheme on food waste collection, eligible,
Eligible.
yes, eligible, explanator, explanatory, 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 explanatory document, the dancing emission, dancing, yes, dancing, dioxin emission.
Dioxin.
Dioxin emission. Dioxin emission. State-of-the-art technologies. There are 13 closed landfills in Hong Kong, thousands of tons of garbage. Hong Kong's average daily waste to landfill increased by 3.7% from 2017 to 2018, from 15,516 to 16,096 tons per day. The latest government statistics from 2018 reports that 5.87 million tons of solid waste was disposed of the strategic landfills. 5 million. The average daily quantity was 16.96 tons per day, which has increased by 3.7% as compared to 2017, with a target of reducing the 2011 amount of waste created daily from 1.27 kg per day per person to 0.8 kg in 2022. In 2018, 3,565 tons of food waste was sent to landfill every day. Approximately 2/3 of this was from households, and the other third was from commercial and industrial source. Maximum treatment capacity of 3,000 tons per day will be completed by 2022. The contract was awarded at the cost of 31 billion Hong Kong dollars, as the same as 4 billion US dollars. In 2020, there were 10,809 tons of municipal solid waste disposed of at landfills each day. Of those, about 3,255 tons, which is 30%, were food waste. Some 778 tons were generated from commercial and industrial. The integrated waste management facility Phase 1 will cover heat energy from the municipal solid waste incineration process to produce about 418 million kilowatt hours of surplus electricity. OK， 其他嘅就下次再揾出。
上口，我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，我都叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，因為佢都相當愛惜食物。惜食香港運動喺上年推出以嚟，大大提高咗市民對仔仔食魚好中意大嘥鬼嘅宣傳片，仲將呢個宣傳歌一則放上口。我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候， 為咗叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。惜食香港運動
Food waste campaign launched from last year. It raised the awareness of industrial people. The
嘅都市固體廢物，當中
9
佔咗大約40%。
among them 40% is
我哋喺上年5月發表咗香港資源循環
we
藍圖，
announced
香
a
港未來10年
report of 10 years Hong
政策措施
Kong
同埋行動時間表。
and action
我上
plan.
任1年
I have been officers
經常有
for 1.5 years. Many people ask me, including the
香港社區咧喺唔同嘅時
Hong
候
Kong community, announced the campaign,
惜食香港運動咧，
food waste campaign.
有唔少嘅民意調
In
查都講出
they
主流
said
民意係支持未來
the
實施
majority
廢物
of
徵費。但係
is
佢哋有時
launched
會
the
問
screen, but some people ask why we need to
甚至係興建
expand landfill and build
我哋藍圖嘅重點，我自己都身體力行
waste a source. I protest myself, but needed 7
需要時間
million thousands to follow me. It needs time to
所
follow.
謂遠水不能夠近火。
Long time plan cannot save present numbers.
包括
We
堆填區同埋焚化爐，
landfill is incinerator slowly
新嘅廢物。
to
另外，目前建築嘅廢料
the
收
control
咗90%，
already 90%,
需
but
要運往堆填區
you have 5%
區係有
in landfill.
實際嘅
Multifunctional landfill is needed in reality. Last time I told you Hong Kong landfill will be reach their capacity. You asked me
堆填區實際上係香港嘅廢物基建會應對的議員業界40%，為咗應對業界，佢都相當愛惜食物。惜食香港運動喺上年推出以嚟，大大提高咗市民同工商業界對廚餘嘅重視。但係，畢竟香港每日有香港運動喺上年，我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，佢都叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。惜食香港運動
food
喺
waste
上年
campaign
推
has
出以嚟，
launched from last year. It raised awareness
工商業界對廚餘嘅重
in
視。但係，
industrial and but Hong Kong produced 9,000 tons per day. Among them, 40% is food money. To reduce the food waste, government announced the report say 10 years in the future. I have been officers for 1.5 years. Many people ask me, committees, lawmakers, friends, and Hong Kong community always organized the campaign. Food waste campaign reduced food waste. Some civil, but they somehow ask why we need to expand free landfills and build incinerator. Waste as source is the core mission of our campaign. I protest myself, but need 7 billion people follow me in this time. Long time plan cannot save present, including landfill and incinerator to deal with Hong Kong daily produce waste. Our first, the recycle rate of still have 5% need to send to landfill. So multifunctional landfill is needed. Last time I told you Hong Kong free landfills will reach their capacity in 2 to 4 years. In that time, you asked me, is that necessary to explain them, to expand landfill?
可以見到成呢？我見我哋喺上年5月發表咗香港資源40%，有9000公噸嘅都業界對廚餘嘅重視，大大提高咗 我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，為咗叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。識食香港運動
Food Waste campaign launched from last year. It raised awareness of people in culture in
畢竟香港每日有，為咗叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。識食香港運動喺上
Food
年
Waste
推出以嚟，
corridors are launched last year. Increase people,
業界對全
increase industrial and commercial people's awareness.
香港每日有大約香港運動喺上年推出以嚟，我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，為咗叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。識食香港運
Food
動喺
Waste
上年推出以
campaign
嚟，
has been launched last year. Raise industrial and commercial people's awareness of food marketing. But Hong Kong produced 9,000 tons of municipal solid waste in Hong Kong, among them 40% is food marketing. To deal with the management, Hong Kong announced a report to illustrate Hong Kong in 10 years on food waste management and action plan.
我上任得
I have been overseas for 1.5 years. Many people ask me, including lawmakers, industrial friends, and citizens, told me Hong Kong's citizen, Hong Kong community, Hong Kong community, Hong Kong community organized food reduced complaint. Food waste Hong Kong
民意調查都講出
is one of them. According to surveys done by organization,
主流民意係支持未來實施廢物按
majority
徵費。
is supporting to living scheme, but something to ask why we still need to explain landfill and incinerator. We reduce source at source. Reduce at source is our core.
自然會問點解仲要擴建3個堆填區，甚至係興建焚化爐呢？源頭減廢
Waste
當然
source is our core mission. I practice myself, but need 7 million citizens follow me. It need time to see the results.
所謂遠水不能
Long pipeline cannot save persons' problems. We need to have an end to treatment facilities built both landfill and incinerator so can reduce so can deal with Hong Kong daily produce waste. Besides them, the recycle rates of
太熱有
are 90%, but still have 5% need to go to landfills. So multifunctional landfill is needed.
上次我都
Last time I told you Hong Kong free landfills will reach their capacities in
你當時問我擴建堆填區係唔係
4
一定
to
需要？
5 to 6 years.
實際上喺香港
You,
嘅廢
in
物
that time, you ask me, is that expand landfill necessary?
支持當時大大提高咗。當推出識食香港運動，喜人龍馬當推出識食，我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，為咗叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。識食香港運動
Food
喺
waste
上年推出
campaign has been launched last year. It raised the people awareness in industrial and commercial industry, but Hong Kong produced 9,000 tons manipulated solid waste. Among them, 40% is food terminating. To reduce the management, government launched the report to illustrate Hong Kong's future 10 years management policy and action plan. I have been officers for 1.5 years. Many people ask me, lawmakers, industrial friends, and citizens, Hong Kong community sometimes organized or reduced campaign. Raise Hong Kong.
都講出主流民意係支持未來實施廢物按量徵費，但係佢哋有時會問點解仲要
Why
三個堆填區？
we need to expand free landfills and build incinerators. Waste as source, reduce waste as source is called I practice myself, but 7 million follow me in need time to see the results. In fact, long-term plan cannot save person. We have end-to treatment facilities, including landfill and to deal with daily produce waste in Hong Kong. Industrial waste achieved 90%. Other 5% sent to landfills. So multifunctional landfill is needed. Last time I told you Hong Kong free landfills will reach capacity in 2 to 6 years. At that time you asked me, is there a spent landfill necessary?
實際上係香港嘅廢間亦都叫佢仔仔阿成宇好中意大嘥鬼嘅宣傳片，仲將呢個宣傳歌 rap 得朗朗上口。我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，佢都叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。
Food waste campaign launched from last year increased people's awareness in industrial and commercial industry, but Hong Kong produced 9,000 tons municipal solid waste, among that 40% is food terminating. To reduce the management, we announced reports to illustrate Hong Kong's future 10 years management policy and action plan. I have been officers for 1.5 years. Many people asked me, including lawmakers, industrial friends, and citizens. They told me Hong Kong's committee organized a reduce campaign sometime. Food waste Hong Kong encouraged them to reduce management. Surface told that the majority people is support to the leafy scheme, but sometimes they will ask me why we need to explain free landfills and build incinerator. Reduce waste as source is our core mission. But I practice myself, but need 7 million people follow me in need time. Long-time plan cannot save persons' problems. We need to have treatment facilities, including landfills and incinerator, to deal with Hong Kong daily produced waste. Besides that, the recycle rate of commercial waste is 90%, still 95%, but still have 5% disposed in landfills. So multifunctional landfills is needed. Last time I told you Hong Kong free landfills will reach their capacities in 2 to 6 years. At that time you asked me, is that a split landfill necessary?
實際上係香港嘅廢物基建係物亦續演出差鬼嘅宣傳片，仲將呢個宣傳rap得朗朗上口。我哋一齊出去食飯嘅時候，佢都叫大家唔好眼闊肚窄，睇嚟佢都相當愛惜食物。
Food waste Hong Kong has been launched last year. It raises people's awareness and industrial and commercial awareness. But Hong Kong produces 9,000 municipal solid waste per day. Among that, 40% is food terminating. To deal with the management, we announced reports in last year, 2019, to explain our management policy and action plan in future 10 years. I have been officers in 1.5 years. Many people ask me, including lawmakers, industrials, Hong Kong communities Food waste Hong Kong encourage people to reduce food waste. Surveys said majority is support the living scheme, but sometimes they will ask me why we need to expand landfills and build incinerator. Reduce waste at source is our core mission. I practice myself, but need 7 million people follow me. It's need time to see the result. In fact, long-term plan cannot save present problems. We need to have end to treatment facilities, including landfills and incinerator, to deal with Hong Kong daily produced waste. Besides time, the recycle rate of commercial waste is 95%, but still have 5% need to dispose in landfills. Therefore, multifunctional landfill is needed. Last time I told you Hong Kong free landfills will reach their capacities in 2 to 6 years, one by one. In that time you asked me, is that expand landfills necessary? Food waste campaign has been launched last year, increased people and industrial commercial awareness of food terminating. But Hong Kong produced 9,000 tons per manipulated solid waste per day. Among them, 40% is food waste. To deal with management, I launched reports to announce the policy and action plan. I have been officers for 1.5 years. Sometimes as people ask me, including lawmakers, industrial citizens, and friends, they told me Hong Kong's committee organized campaigns for Waste Hong Kong, encourage people to reduce food waste. Surveys show that the majority is supporting to living scheme, but sometimes they will ask me why we still need to expand landfills and build incinerator. Food reduced at source is our core mission. I practice myself, but need 7 million people follow me in need time to see the results. In fact, long-term plan cannot save present problems. We need to have end-to-end treatment facilities, including have landfill and incinerator, to deal with Hong Kong daily produced waste. Besides them, the recycle rate of commercial waste is 95%, but still have 5% need to dispose to landfills, so multifunctional landfills is needed. Last time I told you Hong Kong's free landfill will reach their capacities in 1 to 6 years, one by one. At that time you asked me, is that expand landfill necessary? 度都係去年5月嗰度都係有啲咳，有啲甩泡。Oh, sorry. See. Oh, what is your picture? Nowadays, Hong Kong landfill saturation point is getting worse.
according to
體廢物監察報告，
according to Hong Kong. Nowadays, Hong Kong landfill saturation problem getting worse. According to Environmental Protection Department announced the waste status for monitoring of solid waste in Hong Kong 2018. Hong Kong
887萬公噸，每
uh,
日平均氣
5,870 tons per day,
6萬噸至 1.6萬噸，
1.6
升3.7%。按年均棄置，每日平均棄置
per
1.6萬噸，每日平均棄置
daily dispose as 16,000 3.7% increased 3.7% year-on-year.
工商業廢物的棄置量為每日
Commercial
4,716 公噸，
waste
較16公噸。廢物的棄置量為工商業廢物的棄置量為
commercial industrial waste
4,716公噸，
is
較
1,706公噸。1,760 tons per day.
7年增加8.9%。
It increased 8.9% compared to 2017.
環保署指出，由於本地經濟增長，
EPD shows that EPD point out that the increase of solid waste is because of the quick development economy. Nowadays, over 5 million solid waste are disposed per day. In Hong Kong, 3 strategic landfills in Tuen Mun, Tai Kung Lane, and Tseung Kwan O. In view of that, if we didn't explain existing landfills, they will reach their capacity in 2020. Therefore, Hong Kong has the urgent need to expand 3 landfills to lengthen the cooperation time. Hong Kong needs to consider raise around the citizens from building landfills without haste. Hong Kong need to implement a series of reduction programs, encourage people bring their own bag, and practice source separation plan to ease the pressure of landfills. 再嚟一次。
現時
Nowadays, Hong Kong
本港堆填區的飽和問題日益嚴重。
landfill site
根據環保，現時本港堆填區的飽和問題日益嚴重。根據環保署公布的香港固體廢物監測報告2018年嘅統計數字，本港堆填區的固體廢物總量為587萬公噸，每日平均棄置1.6萬噸，按年升3.7%。
Hong Kong landfill saturation problem is getting worse. According to Environmental Protection Department announced the report of Waste Statistics for Monitoring of Solid Waste in Hong Kong 2018, it points that the total disposed waste amount is 5,086,000 tons per day and is 16,000 tons waste produced by person. It increased 3.7% year on year.
另外，工商業廢物的棄置量為每日4,716公噸，較2017年增加8.9%。環保署指出，
Apart from that, the daily waste on commercial and industrial waste is 4,760 tons. It increased 8.9% compared to 2017.
由於本地經濟增長，導致工商業廢物棄置量上升。現時每年有超過
According to government, they say the increase of commercial and industrial waste is due to the quick development of economy.
100萬公噸廢物時，每年有超過500萬公噸廢物棄置在本港3個策略性堆填區，分別位於屯門、打鼓嶺及將軍澳。有鑑於此，
This Hong Kong disposed 500 million municipal solid waste per year to Hong Kong three strategic landfills on Tuen Mun, Tai Kwu Ling and Tseung Kwan O.
有堆填區如不擴建，將於2020年左右飽和。因此，政府有迫切需要擴建現有堆填區，以延長運作。同時，政府
Therefore, if we don't expand landfills to lengthen its cooperation time, Hong Kong's free landfills will reach their capacities in 2020. Therefore, for governments, it has the urgent need to expand landfill. Expand landfills to lengthen their operation time.
要考慮居民對於家園附近設立堆填區感到擔憂而作出平衡。
In the same time, they need to balance landfill building and residents living around them of their concerns of landfills.
不宜操之過急。
without hesitation.
此外，
Without
政
hesitation.
府亦已實施一系列減費政策。
Apart from that, Hong Kong government should implement a series of reduced activities. We reduce activities.
如鼓勵市民
Encourage
購物袋，
citizens bring their own bag.
計劃，減輕居
Practice source separation plan
退負
to ease the pressure of pressure of landfills. 中文係英文難啲，我覺得。呢個係咪中文？
鑑於香港3個堆填區即將飽和，政府於2018年
Some 8 million tons of single-use plastic.
我根本有带腿走啊，拜拜。
因为我们家 Jellycat 延迟了半个小时的 roleplay， 所以就现在先做 SI， 然后之後再做 ASMR 的 SI。
而且將房間轉作青年宿舍用途，目標喺5年之內提供額外約3000個宿位。青年支付嘅租金約為市值租金嘅60%，並且需要承諾參與地區或者志願服務去回饋社會。另外，政府會物色合適嘅賣地計劃項目，以試驗形式要求發展商預留一定數量嘅單位支援青年宿舍計劃。最後，
Lastly,
我哋要
we need
共
to
同抗疫，
combat the
説
epidemic
好香
together,
港故事，
tell good stories of
實
Hong
現新
Kong,
飛躍。
and scout new heights.
新冠
The
病毒
COVID-19
肆虐
epidemic
將近
has
3年。
ranged for nearly 3
香港
years.
作為一
Its
個
impact
高
on
度
Hong
開
Kong
放嘅
as a
經
highly
濟
open
體，
economy and
受
particular
疫情嘅
evidence.
影響特別明顯。政府
The
嘅抗疫
government's
路線係清晰嘅，
anti-epidemic policy are clear
正
and have
循序
been
漸
taken
進地
forward
推
in
進，
an orderly manner,
目標係
with the
為
aim of
民生
creating the
同埋經
greatest
濟活
room
動
for people's
創造
livelihood
最
and
大空
academic
間。
activities.
本屆政府上
Upon
任之後，
assuming
隨
office,
即
the
制定
quarantine
抗疫
government
5項原則，
prominently formulated 5 anti-epidemic principles.
不
1.
躺平，
Not to lie fake,
控制
but
確
to
診數字，
concern the number
確
of
保醫
conflicted
療體
cases
系
and
嘅
prevent
負
the
荷力。
healthcare systems
第
from
二，
overloading.
減
2.
重
To
症、
reduce
減死
critical
亡。
cases and deaths.
第三，
3.
保護
To
高
protect
風險
high-risk
人士，
groups,
包括
including the
一老一
elderly,
幼
children,
同埋
and
長期
patients
病患
with
者。
current
第
illness.
四，以
4.
科學
To
標準方法
classify
識別
people into
不同
different
風
risk
險級
level
別嘅
for
人士，
culture,
分級管控。
proper and scientific
以
and
及
principled
計
manner.
平
And
衡
5.
疫
To
情風
strive
險
a
同埋
balance
經濟
between
需要。
epidemic risk and economic needs.
我多次提及，
I have mentioned on many more occasions that we should avoid
我哋
backtracking
嘅抗疫
along
大
our
原則
path of combating the
係以
epidemic.
最
Our
少代價
guideline principle to
換取
achieve the
最大
greatest
成
impact
效。
with the lowest cost.
喺疫情可控嘅
Provided
前
the
提之下，
epidemic is under control,
政府嘅
the
抗疫
government
路
will
線
continue to
係不
move
斷
forward
向前。
with adjustments and
根
enhancements
據疫情
to
嘅實際
anti-epidemic
情況同
measures
埋
in
變
the
化，
light of the actual
調
situation and
整同埋
development.
優化措施，
This
確保一
This
切
is to
有
ensure
序
that things
穩
will be
妥
taken
逐
forward
步
in an
向前
orderly
推進。
and measured manner.
本屆政府上
Having
任
assumed
3個
office
多
for
月，
just over
已
3
經
months, the
階段
current
性咁推出
team
多
governments
項
have rolled
以
out a
風險
series
管
of
理為
precise
本
and
嘅
risk-based
精準抗疫
anti-epidemic
措
measures
施，
in freeze,
逐步放寬
gradually
管控，
realizing our
例如
cultural measures,
取消
thus
航班
including
熔斷機
cancel
制，
the route-specific
實施
list
紅
of social
黃碼，
medication,
按風
introducing the
險
rights and
分
amber
級
code
管控，
to risk-based
將抵港7日嘅
classification
集
and
中酒
management,
店檢疫
change the 7
改
days
為3加
7
4，
hotel accordance to
再
3
改
plus
為
4 and
0
later
加
0
3，
plus 3,
分階
and
段放
realizing
寬
social
社交
distance
距離
measures
措
in
施。
freeze.
The
The Zero Plus Free arrangement implements in 26th of September was a major change as it formally put the end to the inbound compulsory quarantine, which is being in place for more than 2 years. Where conditional permits, the government will enhance various measures in the progressive way, including social distance measures. We will also devise specific plans to ensure the major events and economic and large-scale activities in Hong Kong can be held smoothly.
聯通內地同埋外地青年度嘅賣地計劃，新冠病毒助青人包括資助非。Promptly. Connet units, connect units, strife, machinism, classification. 政府機構租用合適酒店同埋旅館，並且將房間轉作青年宿舍用途。目標係喺5年之內提供額外約3000個宿位，青年支付嘅租金約為市值租金嘅60%，並且需要承諾參與地區或者志願服務去回饋社會。另外，政府會物色合適嘅賣地計劃項目，以試驗形式要求發展商預留一定數量嘅單位，支援青年宿舍計劃。最後
Lastly,
我哋要
we need to combat the epidemic together, tell good stories of Hong Kong, and scale new heights.
新冠
The
病毒
epidemic COVID has raged for nearly 3 years. Its impact on Hong Kong as a highly open economy is
受疫情
particularly
嘅影
evident.
響特別明顯。政府嘅抗疫
The
路線
government's
係清晰嘅。
anti-epidemic policy are clear and have been taken forward in an orderly manner, with the aim to creating the greatest room for people's livelihood and economic
本
activities.
屆政府上任
Upon assuming office, the quarantine government purposely formulated 5 anti-epidemic principles. 1. Not lie flat,
控制
but to
確診數
contain
字，
the numbers of
確保
confirmed
醫療
cases
體
and
系
prevents
嘅
the
負荷。
healthcare systems for overloading. 2.
減重症、
To reduce
減死亡。
critical cases
第三，
and deaths.
保
3.
護高
To
風
protect
險人
high-risk
士，
groups,
包括
including the
一老一幼
elderly,
同埋
children,
長
and
期
patients
病患
with
者。
chronic illness.
以科學
4.
精
To
準方法
classify
識
people
別
into
不同風
different
險
risk
級別嘅人
levels
士，
for proper
分級
control
管
in
控，
a scientific
以
and
及
precise
第
manner.
五
And
平
5.
衡
To
疫情
strive
風
a
險
balance
同埋
between
經濟
epidemic
需要。
risk and economic needs.
我多次提及，
I have mentioned on many occasions that we should avoid backtracking.
我哋嘅
Along
抗
a
疫大
path
原則
of combating the
係以
epidemic,
最少
our
代價
guideline principle to
換取最大
achieve
成效。
the greatest
喺疫
impact
情
with
可
the
控嘅
lowest
前
cost,
提之下，
prevent that
政府
the
嘅抗
economy
疫
is
路
under
線
control. The
係
government
不
will
斷向
continue
前。
to move forward and
根據疫
with
情嘅實
adjustments
際情況
and
同埋變化，
enhancements to anti-epidemic
調整
measures
同埋
in
優
light
化
of
措
the
施，
education,
確保一
actual
切
situation and
有序、
development,
穩
is to
妥
make sure that
逐
things
步
will
向
be
前
taken
推進。
forward in an orderly and measured manner.
本屆政府上任
Having
3
assumed
個多月，
office for
已
just
經階
over
段
3
性
months,
咁推
the
出
current
多
team
項
governments
以
have
風
rolled
險
out a
管理為本
series
嘅精
of
準抗
precise
疫措
and
施，
risk-based
逐步
anti-epidemic
放
measures
寬
in
管
place,
控，
gradualizing
例
our
如
control measures.
取消航
This
班
including the
熔斷機制，
cancelling the route-specific
實施
flight
紅
suspension
黃碼，
mechanism,
按風險
introducing the red
分級
and
管
amber
控，
code for
將
risk
抵港7日
risk
嘅集中酒店檢疫
70 quarantine
改為
arrangements to
3+4，
3 plus 3 and later
再
0
改為
plus 3,
0+3，
and realizing social
分階
discipline
段放
measures
寬
in
社
freeze.
交距離措施。我哋喺
The
9
Zero
月
Plus
26
Free
號實
implements
行
in
嘅
26th of September.
正
The
式
free
取消咗
arrangements was a
已經
major
實施超過2年多嘅抵港強制
inbound
檢疫
consular
要求，
measure requirements, which
係一項
is
重大
formally
嘅改變。
is a major change
喺條件許可之
and
下，
where
政府會按
conditional
部就班，
permits.
優
The
化各
government
項
will
措
enhance
施。
various measures in a
包括
progressive way,
社交距
including
離措
social
施。
distance measures.
政府
We
亦都
should
會
also
設計
devise
針對性方案，
specific plans to make
確保香
sure
港嘅盛事、
the major
經濟
events and
同埋
economic
大
and
型
large
活
scale
動
activities in Hong Kong
順
can be
利
held
穩
smoothly.
妥進行，聯通內地。加四，新冠病助青人，本屆政府再加第四度嘅賣地計劃，再度推出首置項目。過去新冠病毒嘅賣地計劃，再度推出首置項目。過去申請購買首置單位超過80%半都係40歲以下嘅青年。更多首置項目將有助青年置業，以及第二，擴大青年宿舍計劃。政府會研究不同嘅方式增加青年宿舍供應，包括資助非政府機構租用合適酒店同埋旅館，並且將房間轉作青年宿舍用途。目標係喺5年之內提供額外約3000個宿位。青年支付嘅租金約為市值租金嘅60%，並且需要承諾參與地區或者志願服務去回饋社會。另外，政府會物色合適嘅賣地計劃項目，以試驗形式要求發展商預留一定數量嘅單位，支援青年宿舍計劃。最後，
Lastly,
我哋要
we should
共同
combat the
抗疫，
epidemic together,
説好
tell
香
good
港故
stories
事，
of Hong Kong,
實
and
現
scale
新
new
飛躍。
heights.
新冠
The
病毒
COVID-19
肆虐
epidemic has
將
raged
近
for
3年，
nearly 3 years.
香港
Its
作為一
impact
個
on
高
Hong
度
Kong as
開
a
放嘅
highly
經
open
濟體，
economy is
受
particularly
疫情嘅
evident.
影響特別明顯。政府嘅
The
抗疫路
government's
線係
anti-epidemic
清晰嘅，
policy are clear and have
正
been
循序
taken
漸進
forward
去推
in
進，
an orderly manner,
目標係
with the
為
aim of
民生
creating the
同埋
greatest
經濟
room
活
for
動
people's
創造
livelihood
最
and
大空
economic
間。
activities.
本屆政府
Upon
上任
assuming
之後，
office, the quarantine governments properly formulated 5
原則
anti-epidemic principles.
第一，
1. Not live
不
at
躺平，控制
but
確診
counting the
數字。
number of confirmed
確保
cases
醫療
and
體
prevents
系
the
嘅
healthcare
負荷力。
systems for overloading.
第二，
2. To
減
reduce
重症、
critical
減
case
死
and
亡。
deaths.
第三，
3. To
保護
protect
高
high-risk
風險
groups
人士，
including
包
elderly,
括一老一
children
幼
and patients
同埋
with
長期病患
connect
者。
illness.
第四，
4.
以
To
科學精準
classify
方
people
法
into
識別
different
不
risk
同風險
level
級別嘅
for
人士，
proper
分級管
control
理，
in specific
以
and
及
precise
第
manner.
五，
And 5.
平衡疫
To
情
strive
風
a
險
balance
同埋
between
經濟
epidemic
需要。
risk and economic needs.
我多次
I
提
have
及，
mentioned on many occasions
抗疫
that we should
不走回
avoid
頭路。
backtracking.
我哋嘅
Along
抗
the
疫大
path
原
of
則
combating the
係以最少
epidemic,
代
our
價
guide principle
換
is
取
to
最
achieve
大
the
成
greatest
效。
impact with the lowest
喺
cost.
疫情可控嘅
Provided
前
that the
提之下，
epidemic is under control,
政府
the
嘅抗疫
government will
路線
continue to move
係
forward
不
with
斷向前。
adjustments and enhancements to
根據疫
anti-epidemic
情嘅實
measures
際情況
in
同
light
埋
of
變
the
化，
actual situation and
調
development.
整同埋優化措施，確保一
It
切
is to make sure
有
that
序、
things were
穩
taken
妥、
forward and
逐
ordered
步
in an
向
orderly
前
and
推進。
measured manner.
本屆政
Having
府上
assumed
任
office
3個
for
多月，
just over 3
已
months,
經
the
階段
quarantine
性咁
governments
推
have
出
rolled
多
out
項
a series
以
of
風險
precise
管理
and
為
risk-based
本嘅精
anti-epidemic
準
measures
抗
in
疫措
place,
施，逐步放
gradually
寬管
realizing
控，
our control measures.
例如
This
取消
including
航班
cancelling the
熔斷
route-specific flight suspension
實施
mechanism,
紅黃
including
碼
the red
按
and
風險
amber
分
code
級
for
管控，
risk-based classification
將
and
抵港
management,
7日嘅
change the
集中
7-day
酒店檢
hotel
疫
quarantine
改為
arrangements to
3+4
3 plus 4
再
and
改為
limit
0+3
0 plus 3,
分階
and
段放
realizing
寬
social
社交
distance
距離
measures
措
in
施。
freeze.
我哋喺
The 0 plus
9
3
月26
arrangements
號實
implements
行
in
嘅
26th of
0+3
September
正式
was
取
a
消
major
咗
change as
已
it
經
formally
實
put
施
an end to the
超過
inbound
2年
compulsory
多嘅
quarantine requirements
抵
which
港
has
強
been
制
in
檢疫
place
要
for
求，
more than 2 years.
係一項
We
重
are
大嘅改變。喺條件
Where
許可之
conditional
下，
permits,
政府
the
會
governments
按
will
部就
enhance
班
various
優化各
measures in a
項措施，
progressive way,
包括社
including
交距
social
離措
distance
施。
measures.
政府亦都
We will
會
also devise
設計
specific
針對
plans
性
to
方
make
案，
sure that
確保香
major
港嘅盛
events
事、經濟
and
同埋
economic
大型
and
活
large scale activities in
順利
Hong Kong can be
穩
held
妥進行。
smoothly.
聯通內
Pupil Poppius, authorities, mandatory, infest, preliminary, coronavirus, spark major quarantine. Sorry. Is it this one? Has sent more than 100 Hong Kong Health Authority has sent more than 100 pupils and teachers from a government secondary school into quarantine and ordered the monitoring COVID-19 test for hundreds of their after 2 students. After 2 students who sat from an exam in the same house were found to be infected. Both infected pupils in Sha Kee Wan Government Secondary School live in Wale Building in Coral Bay, which has been hit by 7 COVID-19 cases so far. And officials on Monday evacuated more than 20 households from the block. All but 4 of the least confirmed influence were local transmits, and 6 were untreatable, taking the official tally to 10,677, and with 186 related deaths. More than 20 people has been tested preliminarily positive for the virus, as case continues to emerge and building sites. Meanwhile, the government was aiming to test all the citizens' construction workers, as many as 200,000 by the end of this month. CHP's Chen said that 1 more workers and the airport third row asset was infected, taking the total to 29, while about 3,000 other workers has already returned negative readings in recent COVID-19 tests. Hong Kong Health Quarantine sent 130 students and teachers from secondary school to quarantine and ordered more than 100 people to take mandatory COVID-19 tests. Because 2 students examined in 2 lobby has been found infected. Sha Kee Wan Government Secondary School students both live in Wale Building in Coral Bay. That building has been confirmed 7 cases of COVID-19. Government officers evacuated 20 households in that building. For the latest infected figure, all out of 4 is local transmit, 6 cases untreatable. 10,666 from official figure, and the death cases is 186. 20 people has tested preliminary positive reading. At the same time, about the increasing cases in construction site, government's plans to take all construction workers to take COVID-19 tests in the end in balance 200,000 people. Report from Chong in Chenghe Airport Through Railway has another people
已經有
infected.
約3000名工人嘅檢測結
It
果
already
為
have
陰性。
3,000
喺澳
workers
門，疫苗
got negative reading. 好似漏咗一個。
香港衛生當局
Hong Kong have quarantine sent 130 students and teachers to quarantine
並下令
and
數百
ordered
名相關人員
more than
進行
100
強制性
people
嘅
to
新
take
冠
a
病毒測試，
mandatory COVID-19 test.
因為2名
It's
喺同一
because
大廳就
two
診學
students
生
exam
被
in the
發
same
現感染。
lobby has been found
筲箕
infected.
灣官立中學嘅2名
Sa
受
K1
感染
government
學生
secondary
均居
students,
住喺
two
鰂魚涌
students, they
維利
live
大廈。
in Wenlei building in
該
Coral
大
Bay.
廈
That
現今
building
已發
has
現
found
7
7
例新冠
cases
病毒病
of
例。
COVID-19 case.
官員星期一疏
Officers
散咗該街
evacuated
區20幾戶居
20
民。
households in the
最
building.
新確診嘅感
For
染
the
病例中，
latest
除
figure,
咗4例外，
except
其餘
for
均為本
others
地個
are
案，
local transmission,
6例無
6
法追蹤。
untreatable.
官方統計為10667例。
10,666 people in the official figure, and the death is 186 cases.
20幾人
Other
初步
two
檢測出
people
病毒
got the
呈陽性。
preliminary positive result.
與此同時，
In the meanwhile,
隨
in
住
the same
建築
time,
工地嘅個案不
about
斷
the
出現，
increasing cases in
政府計
construction
劃
site,
喺本月底前
government's
對
plans
所有建築
take
工人
all
進行
construction
測試。
workers take COVID-19
多達
tests in the
20
end
萬
of
人。
this month. It involved
衛生防護中心
200,000
嘅
people.
張竹君話：
Turn from
喺機場第3跑道現場
CHP
又有1名工人感染，
airport
總數達到
flow
29
and
人。
other people get
而喺
infected
最近
in
嘅
total
冠狀
to
病毒檢
29
測中，
people.
已
In
經有約
recent
3000名工人嘅檢測結果
results
為
have
陰性。
3,000 workers got negative results.
喺澳門，
还有差不多1分半了，就先不那个了，就大家，到时候 Daddy 的 ASMR 再见。